Sorry about that, everybody.
How are you? Go ahead and call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Flag right there.
Jason Baker.
Here.
Jim Dodgel. Brian Ellis.
Here.
Tim Engel.
Here.
Dave Haba.
Here.
Brian Holman.
Here.
Vic Mays.
Here.
David Mills.
Here.
Jacob Pack.
Here.
Donald Pauly.
Here.
Steve Perry.
Here.
Sarah Stewart.
Here.
Travis Willard. Glenn Yeager. We have a
Thank you. Before we move on to the next agenda item, which is the meeting minutes, we do have a new member of the Planning Commission, Mr. Jason Baker. So Jason, welcome to the commission. If you wouldn't mind to introduce yourself, just tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. My family and I moved to this area roughly 3 years ago. We live outside of Racer's Bottom on State Ranch Road. I work for Appalachian Power BEP, vice president of operations. So the distribution line is mine, and of course,
Staying busy.
meter, everything that goes with that for our whole territory, Tennessee, Virginia, Tennessee, and West Virginia.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to the commission. We appreciate your time and volunteering your time as well. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the meeting minutes. These were distributed to the group prior to the meeting. Any questions on the minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item is citizens' concerns. There are noted that there are no citizens in attendance, so we will go ahead and move into really the first two items on the agenda, which are text amendment 2025-05, and I'm recommending that they both be presented together because they are related. So, Dave, if you could present 2025-05 and 2025-06 together, and then we can work as a group on those two items.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. First item we'll look at on our iPads is file number 3, which is a proposed text amendment 2025-05. This is a proposed text amendment to amend the zoning ordinance for the zoned unincorporated areas of Putnam County, Article 150.02, definition of terms, to include solar array, aka solar farm, with the proposed definition of solar array or solar farm consists of solar cells, also known as photovoltaic cells, which are grouped together to create solar panels. Multiple solar panels are grouped together to create a solar array or solar farm. The function of a solar array or a solar farm is to collect, invert, store, and distribute solar energy to generate electricity on a large scale. Now, if you want to go ahead and jump to your next iPad file, which is file number 4, and that is relative to proposed text amendment 2025-06. And this is a proposed text amendment to amend the zoning ordinance for the zoned unincorporated areas of Putnam County, Article 800.02, permitted principal uses within the I-1 light industrial district, to include a solar array or solar farm. You'll see under 800.02 permitted principal uses the insertion of the letter P to include solar array or solar farm. Now, if anyone has just a question about what a solar farm or solar array looks like on your iPads, there are a few photos of solar farms with several solar panels in conjunction to create a solar farm. Of course, something that we install may or may not be this large. These photos are indicative of very large applications.
Thanks, Dave. The next part of the public hearing would be the applicant developer comments. I am the applicant for these two proposed amendments. Dave, if you could just provide maybe a little color of how we got to the point of,
Sure.
of adding these as an amendment.
Yeah, there's been some talk of folks possibly being interested in doing a solar array in a I-1 light industrial district in the southern part of the county. Nothing has been applied for or anything like that, but as we discussed, it would be a good time now to make a definition and to make this a permitted principal use in a light industrial district, should this application actually come to life.
Thank you. Are there any other, well, I guess I would move to one, there's no public here, so there will be no public comments, so I'll close the public portion of the hearing so we can then go into discussion amongst the group here. Are there any questions for staff?
Is there a minimum or maximum size, or is there anything?
We don't have that indicated here, no. But it's certainly something we could
Yeah.
talk about.
When I read this, so if I were looking at it, you could actually, it says multiple panels, so this would mean that if I had rooftop solar and, 3 or more panels, that it would be a large scale generator. And there's also, when you read through this, the function of a solar array or solar farm is to collect, convert, store, and distribute solar energy to generate electricity on a large scale. So store is two different things. I mean, so you can't really, you need to somehow break out store. It's fine that it's in here, it could be in or, because what that implies is that you have a battery, or most likely a battery storage device on there, and a traditional solar farm would not have a storage device. That would be above and beyond. So there's a couple of things with this definition that I don't want to rain on anybody's parade, but people can pick it apart.
No, and that's why we're having, that's why we have multiple minds across multiple industries in here, so we get, everyone's opinion and it's valued. So, Jason, thank you for your comments. Any other comments?
Are they in any special permitted use in any other?
They would just be, this is the only section that they are so far, correct?
As far as setbacks or anything like that, as far as?
As of this proposal does not include any 1,700 unique features like we did last time relative to laydown yard. Those have not been hashed out, but it certainly could be something we talk about.
The other thing too, so you would want to use megawatts is the rule, the measurement for solar farms. So you would want to attach a certain megawatt to this to define a large scale solar operation. Greater than so many megawatts.
Well,
I would ask, are you guys, or is it a large scale solar that we're looking for? It takes, so consider this, for a megawatt of generation in solar, you're looking at about 5 to 7 acres of land. And the solar panels have gotten more efficient. So you can scale from that, how much land.
Yeah, what I would comment in terms of, why are we here, right, is more probably being proactive in terms of trying to, get out in front of potential for, possible applications. As Dave said, there's no, application that we know of today, someone looking, but that doesn't mean that if these get added that couldn't occur. And I'm not saying that we're aware of anything. So, and I don't want to say that we've pushed these too quick, but I know that staff works hard to do what they believe is best in terms of how they define things. The but to that is, if there is the opportunity to to improve upon, what is in front of us, I think that's probably appropriate. Jason, now that you're a new member, obviously this is your world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think it's big.
Yeah, so I would request a motion to go ahead and table these two items, and then we can, have a small group, including Jason, work on further defining this, and then we'll bring it back at that time.
So,
Just an FYI, 1 megawatt would be a large solar area.
6 to 7 acres, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, that'd be 6 or 7, but the state defines, I believe, a solar farm as 25 or more. So I can get all the stuff that we need from engineers.
Perfect. Yeah. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda is text amendment 2025-07. Do not believe there are any disclosures of conflict, so if staff would go ahead and present, please.
All right, that is file number 5 on your iPad. If you would like to follow along, this is proposed amendment 2025-07 to amend the zoning ordinance for the zoned unincorporated areas of Putnam County, Article 650.04, special permit uses within the C2 high-density commercial district to include a laydown yard. If you scroll down the page, you see 650.04, special permit uses, the insertion of letter N, laydown yard. And we defined laydown yard in our last meeting, and we also introduced language in Article 1700 relative to special conditions for the laydown yard. But that was relevant relative to light industrial. So this is to make a laydown yard a special permit use in a C2, not a permitted principal use. As a refresher, the special permit use definition is a use that meets the intent and purpose of the zoning district in which the use is situated, but which requires the review and approval of the Board of Zoning Appeals in order to ensure that any possible adverse impacts or adjacent uses, structures, or public services and facilities will be mitigated. So we need to determine if this proposal will protect and promote public health, safety, convenience, moral, and general welfare, and if it is consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan and ordinances.
Thank you, Dave. Are there any comments for staff?
Yeah, and Dave, forgive me since I wasn't present at the last meeting, but can you just, what was the definition? You have to read it verbatim, but just, what was the?
Yeah, okay, laydown yard, this was what was adopted and approved by the county commission. Laydown yard is a designated staging area where large and/or industrial tools, materials, products, equipment, and vehicles may be organized and temporarily stored when not in use. A laydown yard may include a storage building or buildings used for storage, repair, service, and/or maintenance of large and/or industrial tools, equipment, and related vehicles. And we also added requirements for unique land uses in Article 1700.17 relative to the laydown yard. 13 points there.
Are there any other questions for staff? The only comment I would make as the applicant, this was obviously brought up at our March, our last meeting in March. The light industrial was approved, and there was discussion amongst this group that should this be a special permitted use in the C2, which is why it's in front of us here today. Go ahead and close the public portion. Any comments, questions, opinions from the group?
For the laydown yard, you'll have to require a special permit.
BZA.
Within a C2, be a special permit. It's a permitted principal use in an I1, but in a C2, because not all C2s would obviously be.
Can it become permanent?
I'm sorry?
Can the lay-down yard become permanent?
Can a lay-down yard
Contractor
become?
moves in, sets up, he's there for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah. It's a place basically, to park things, when they're not in use. But yeah, lay-down yard can be
If you go to page
permanent.
17, orders yard up there, I would consider that probably a laydown yard. Just, various materials, extra things that they might use equipment. And that's been there a long time.
I would
Yeah. But just as an example.
Yeah, and the reasoning for the special permit use in a C2 is, not every C2 property would be right for a laydown yard. There are some C2 properties that would be, obviously, but not all. Therefore, the special permit, so the BZA can review and review circumstances to decide whether or not to approve that use on a specific parcel.
Are there any other comments or opinions from the group? Okay, we'll go ahead and move over to our sheet for the facts to be determined. So the first item, or first question that needs to be answered is, will the proposed amendment protect and promote public health, safety, convenience, morals, and general welfare? Are there any opinions?
Yeah, I'll say that the special permitting process, I think that sort of enhances that regardless of what it is. And so for that reason, not necessarily specifically this, but would meet that criteria.
Thank you, Brian. Any other opinions? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. So those who believe that criteria number 1 is yes, signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, criteria 1 carries. Criteria number 2, is the amendment consistent in achieving the objectives of the adopted comprehensive plan, the US 35 Corridor Management Plan, and the Tays Valley Land Use Plan? Any opinions?
I think it does, because we can't really do these things that we want to do without supporting areas and or places that you can live in. I think it definitely supports what we're trying to do.
Any other opinions? That's a question for the sheriff's office. Yeah, the assessor, right? I'm not sure. It would fall under. Okay, so all those in favor, or all those who believe that criteria number 2 is yes, signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Would someone want to make a motion to recommend text amendment 2025-07 for approval to the county commission?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is staff report.
All right, staff report is file number 6 on your iPads. This report on May. Page number 2 of the iPad, you see that development permits for in May 2025 calendar year. We had 34 development permits in May. We had 42 in April, so a few less than April, but we're averaging 29 permits per month so far in 2025. The next page is a report on the plat approvals so far for 2025, and you see in May we had 9. We had 16 last month. We're averaging 12, which adds up to an average of 12 plats per month so far in 2025. Page number 4 is a synopsis of our fiscal year financial performance. So far the fiscal year through 11 months, we're 21% below budget on our expenditures through 11 months of the fiscal year. And you'll see the fiscal year revenue for 24-25 through 11 months, we are 130% ahead of where we were last fiscal year and 183% ahead of where we have been over our last 10-year average. So it's been a very good year from a revenue standpoint. The next page, if you scroll down, you see pictorially in a bar graph what we've done through 11 months relative to the last 10 years. So far, it's been the biggest fiscal year in the history of the office relative to revenue. The next page is the permit status report. If anybody has any questions about that.
I don't have any questions on the permit status, but just in terms of, obviously the revenue being as high as it is, are there one or two drivers? What are they?
Oh, well, the big one is the hospital. And there haven't been as many permits this fiscal year, but they've been bigger projects. So the office has brought in more money per project. So we've been very fortunate. So that's the report. We do have a rezoning scheduled on the agenda for next month.
Okay. Any other questions for staff as it relates to the report?
I do have a question, maybe not exactly with the report here, but I haven't seen anything with Amazon. Is that still a go or no, or?
I'm not up to speed on anything.
We don't have any application or submittal.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, unfinished business? None. Next item is new business. With the solar array being tabled, I would ask that we put together called a subcommittee or a committee called the Solar Array Definition Committee, and need to get probably 3 to 4 people on that subcommittee. So I would welcome any volunteers to work on that, and I'll volunteer. Jason, anyone else want to volunteer? We got our 3.
Who we have, Jason, you say Vic? Who
And
else?
myself.
Who?
And myself.
Okay, great. Donald, you're an AEP man.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion. We adjourn.
So move. Thank you, guys. We are fishbowl.
Every-